What's up, guys? Welcome back to Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. This is going to be part 3, and we're going to be playing part 1, chapter 2, The Dispossessed. Or yeah, that's how you say that. Alright, so this is an arrive map where we have our new healer, Laura, who is just your basic early game Fire Emblem healer. She has decent magic, decent growths all around, but she is outclassed by other characters later on. And here I'm showing off Nolan, because I didn't really show him off that much last time. He has decent stats, and he has the skill Nihil, which cancels other people's special skills. So the goal of this chapter here is to get Lara, your healer, to a specific spot and arrive there. So it's basically a seas map where Lara is your main character. And because she can't fight or anything, it becomes an interesting, escort mission. Here, here I'm debating whether or not I actually want to put Edward up here, and I ultimately decide to, which was fine. It gets rid of this guy eventually, but he takes some heavy damage. It may not have been the smartest move, but it's what we went for. And this was frustrating, not being able to kill this guy one damage away. We just wait. Have Leonardo run around, just die. I don't know. There's not a whole lot for him to do this turn. Here's our boss, Zayatan, whatever. He's just armor knight. He has a javelin, so he can attack at range. But luckily, Micaiah is going to get her personal weapon, which for whatever reason, her personal weapon just happens to be in a treasure chest here. Very conveniently, we'll get a thief this chapter who can open said treasure chest, so it works out. And speaking of thief guy, here he is, Soth, whatever, who we'll get next turn. And I'll start talking about him. Soth is in Path of Radiance as this punk kid who's not really useful. Volk is the better thief. I mean, you could say that Soth doesn't cost money to open chests or anything, but he also can't promote, which is a small thing in Volk's favor. I mean, promotion's not huge for him. But it's more just he can take a hit if you need him to, whereas Soth is going to be pretty weak throughout the game, especially since he has the skill Blossom, which makes it so he doesn't receive experience as quickly as other characters. It's supposed to make him stronger, but over the course of the 19 levels he has to grow, it's not really worth it. And boom, perfect level up for Nolan. He's really making his case for making it to the end game right now, actually. That's right, I'm already thinking about the end game and who we want to take. But we'll see. We might not end up bringing Nolan, because I have this thing going right now for the end game where I want to bring, I don't know if you watch, if you go watch Mecha's videos, Pitfalls or whatever, he'll probably tell you this is a pitfall maybe. But this is for fun. I just want to bring a, nice Wrath crit, love those. I just want to bring a 1 unit per special weapon, so per like SS ranked weapons, like super weapon. So which breaks down to I can bring like 1 axe user. It breaks down like perfectly, where I can bring like 1 axe user, 2 sword users, a lance unit, and then I need 3 magic units. Well, actually 4 magic units if we count dark, and then Micaiah uses the light, and then Soth is mandatory to bring to the end, so we'll give him base lard and have him have Peshkats as well. I thought it was interesting that in Heroes they gave him Peshkats as his like as his best weapon instead of the best weapon, best knife in this game. But I guess it makes sense for his character as he's a dagger unit. You can't throw base lard. Whatever, off topic. You also see that Nolan is carrying an item called the Draco Shield. It gives a unit +2 defense, but I was thinking about giving it to him. Another Wrath crit, love it. It's totally unnecessary, but it was awesome. I'm considering giving it to Nolan. I mean, there's argument to be like, oh, give it to Edward, but the thing is, 1 Draco Shield is not going to make it so Edward can survive 2 hits at this point. So it's really pointless on him. Nolan, on the other hand, I think in many instances would allow him to survive an extra hit compared to non-Draco Shield Nolan. But he's doing fine right now, so I think I'm going to save it for a flyer we get later, Jill. And here I'm petrified that that archer is actually in the range of Lara. And here's our first use of Soth. He's comes as a, what we call a pre-promote. So he already essentially has 20 levels under him, is like kind of the way to look at it. He already has 20 levels plus a promotion, which gives you special stat gains and whatnot. And then a couple levels on top of that is kind of the way you can look at a pre-promote. And so for our party right now, he is essentially 20 levels ahead of everyone and is way stronger than everyone. But that means he doesn't earn as much experience. So the classic thing to say is like, oh, he steals the EXP. But on the other hand, you got to realize that sure, he's stealing EXP or something from a lower level unit, but he's also just like this instant delete button when you need him to be. And that's very, very useful. There's a lot of situations you can get into that are pretty sticky and hairy, but Soth can just get you out of them by either rescuing someone or just acting as a wall. You can even de-equip him if you need to. Very useful unit, and we'll be using him for the duration of Dawn Brigade chapters because I think he's also mandatory to bring in them anyways, but we'll be using him nonetheless. So earlier you saw that ledge there, and we'll see another instance of it in a second, but Radiant Dawn does something interesting where there's ledges that add elevation to the game, and if you attack from a higher elevation, you have a much higher hit rate, and the enemy's hit rate is much lower. So it makes it so attacking from higher up is just a safer, more advantageous position. And here we're introduced to Jared, the evil bad guy. He's kind of like the mustache twirling evil dude of the Dawn Brigade arc. So right here we attack from a ledge here. See, he only has 16 hit, Nolan has 100. It's like super safe, easy to do, which is really exciting. So for the rest of this chapter, really what it comes down to is getting all the chests of Soth, because he's a thief type character. He can open chests because that's a special skill he has. It's cool stuff. So we're going to jump down there, and actually those two chests are extremely important. They have two very good weapons that we need going forward. The first being Thani, whatever. Give that to Micaiah. It's her personal tome, and it's effective against armored and horse-mounted units. So she becomes this just glass cannon, I guess, towards these heavily armored units, like the boss of this chapter, conveniently. So she'll be honestly, she'll probably be our biggest boss killer in a lot of different maps, including this one where the boss is a armored unit or a mounted unit, which comes up in the next chapter as well, actually. So very, very useful tome. And in the next chest we get a wind sword, or is it wind edge? I can't remember off the top of my head. We'll see it right now. It is the wind edge, which is a 1-2 range sword. So this is something that I touched on, but it makes Edward and other sword units a more viable characters, because they don't have to rely on axes and lances for 1-2 range, which a sword locked unit cannot. See, that's the main problem that you usually find with Myrmidons and Swordmasters in other Fire Emblem games, is that they're locked to one range, meaning they get counterattacked all the time, and they don't retaliate on enemy phases nearly as much as you'd like to. And it can really throw a wrench into strategy and plans when you have one unit who can't counterattack, because that's who the enemies go for, rather than if everyone can counterattack, enemies are going to take damage no matter what. So it plays huge in an enemy phase. The problem with the wind sword, though, or wind edge, is that it's really inaccurate, even compared to javelins and hand axes. It's the least accurate of the three, I believe. And it's relatively strong. It's fine, but that inaccuracy can be really frustrating at times. So on hard mode, you really want to make sure you're using either high skill, which just mitigates bad hit rates, I guess. But also, if Edward's at high biorhythm, it's usually pretty safe. And we actually, hopefully, we'll see that in the next chapter. Start whipping the wind sword out and beating people with it. Here I'm thinking I want to get Micaiah a kill, but it's not safe. I'm afraid it's not safe because of that archer right there. I believe that archer one-shots Micaiah, just like everyone else in this, every other enemy in this game. Everything kills Micaiah. If they look at her funny, she falls over and dies, which is too bad. But we get a kill for her right here, and a level, which is stupendous. We would like speed, but strength, because of how the attack speed formula all works out in this game, is okay. The light tome isn't that heavy. I'm not sure how heavy Thowny is off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's because it's her personal tome. It doesn't weigh her down that much, if at all. But the more strength, the less weighed down you get by heavier, better magic tomes. And Lara looks like she's in a dangerous spot, but there are certain walls that people can't attack through. So I do a whole rescue drop thing just to make sure she's safe, but she would have been fine right there. You can't attack through that pillar. And you see how useful hand axes are. It's just so nice to be able to equip a hand axe and then just retaliate. It's great. Even though it's using an axe. Here we're giving her super tome, which is awesome. Giving him his wind sword. And see, I can't attack through the wall. And here we see how much damage she can just do to him. She can't kill him in one shot. On easy and normal mode, she can just delete that guy. But here we have to be a little more careful. We'll have to do a little more damage to him with Nolan next turn. And then we'll be able to get that last chest, which has a very awesome item, an energy drop, which gives +2 strength, which we'll be saving most likely for Jill again, because, you know, using flyers is always really good, but we'll get into that later. And here is kind of a risky shot. I mean, the hit chance of like 72, but I'm like, whatever, let's go for it. Because we have Soth as a backup, and Edward as a backup if we need to. The guy might be able to kill Edward in one hit, I'm not sure. Either way, we get the damage there, and now Micaiah can jump in and use her super tome, Thani, and destroy this guy. Breaking arms, that's messed up. Hey, he's gone. Okay, so now Soth is going to run up, grab that chest, and then Lara will arrive and we'll win the chapter. First we'll have I think we'll have Edward do some damage real quick or something. Oh no, you're right, is that what I did? Yeah, here we go. Comes in, slaps this guy with his sword a little bit, gets some experience. Experience is good. Should have had Leonardo attack first, because why does Leonardo need experience? But arrive and we win the chapter. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Tenders. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you think about the new unit we got in this chapter in the comments. Lara.